January 1974, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Hundreds of Harvard students line the snowy streets, waiting to humiliate the most famous man in America. They have snowballs, they have signs, they have 4 years of anger about a war that's still burning. And John Wayne rides straight into the middle of it, on top of a United States Army armored personnel carrier. What happens on that stage becomes Hollywood legend. But what happens afterward, in a back corridor, between Wayne and one student whose father never came home from Vietnam, that part was never on any camera. Here is the story. The snowball hits the side of the armored personnel carrier with a flat metallic bang, then another, then a dozen more. It's January 15th, 1974. Harvard Square is packed shoulder to shoulder. Students hang out of windows. They stand on mailboxes. They line the route 3 deep in the gray Massachusetts cold, and they are not here to welcome anybody. The signs say it plain: end the war. Go home, Duke. John Wayne is a fraud. And up on top of the carrier, riding through the storm of snowballs like a man riding through weather he's seen before, sits John Wayne. 66 years old, one lung, cowboy hat. He is not waving like a politician. He is not hiding behind the steel. He sits up there in the open, taking every snowball, and he is grinning. Somebody lands one square on his shoulder. Wayne brushes the snow off, finds the kid in the crowd who threw it, and points at him. "Nice arm, son." The kid doesn't know what to do with that. Half the crowd laughs before they remember they came here to hate him. That's the thing nobody planned for. They invited John Wayne to Harvard to bury him. Nobody invited him to enjoy it. Real quick, drop your state in the comments. I love seeing where all of you are watching from. To understand how insane this day is, you have to see the letter. 3 weeks earlier, the Harvard Lampoon, the university's famous humor magazine, the sharpest and meanest pens in America, sent John Wayne an invitation. Except it wasn't an invitation. It was a challenge. They called him a fraud. They called him a relic. They mocked his walk, his politics, his toupee. They dared him, dared the great John Wayne, to come to Cambridge and show his face in the most liberal square mile in the United States. It was 1974. Vietnam had torn the country down the middle. On college campuses, John Wayne wasn't a movie star. He was a symbol of everything they were marching against: the war, the flag waving, the Green Berets. Every man Wayne ever played felt like a recruiting poster, and the boys those posters recruited were coming home in boxes, or not coming home at all. Every advisor Wayne had said the same thing: "Don't go, there's nothing to win. It's an ambush." His people had 100 reasons. He was 66. He'd lost a lung to cancer 10 years back. He had a new picture to promote, a cop film called McHugh. And there were 100 safer places to promote it than a room full of people who hated him. Wayne read the Lampoon's letter once. The story goes that he laughed out loud at the insults. Then he sent back a telegram accepting, and his reply gave the needle right back to them, word for word, insult for insult. His own people asked him why. Why walk into that? Wayne's answer was simple. They're Americans too. Somebody's got to talk to them. And when the Army Reserve offered to carry him into Harvard Square on an armored personnel carrier, a joke, a piece of theater, a tank for the cowboy, Wayne climbed right up on top of it. If they wanted John Wayne, they were going to get John Wayne. Somewhere in that crowd, not throwing anything, stands a 22-year-old senior named David Reese. He's been waiting for this day for 3 weeks. Not the way the Lampoon editors have been waiting, giggling over their typewriters, sharpening jokes. David has been waiting the way you wait for something you've needed for 9 years. David is from Dayton, Ohio. His father, Thomas Reese, ran a hardware store on Wayne Avenue. And yes, he knew about the street name. And yes, he loved that, because Thomas Reese loved John Wayne. He'd seen Sands of Iwo Jima 11 times. 11. He could do the walk. He could do the voice. Saturday afternoons, he'd close the store early and take David to whatever Western was playing. And on the drive home, he'd say the same thing every time. "That's what a man looks like, Davy. stands for something, doesn't complain about the cost. In 1965, Thomas Reese enlisted in the United States Army. He was 34 years old. He had a wife, a son, a hardware store, and a draft status that meant nobody on earth was going to come asking for him. He went anyway. In November of 1965, in a place called the Ia Drang Valley, Thomas Reese was killed in action. David was 9. For 9 years, David has carried a question with no place to put it. His mother won't talk about it. The army sent medals and a folded flag. The country that sent his father started pretending the whole thing never happened. So when the Lampoon announced that John Wayne, the face on the poster, the walk his father copied, the reason, David believes, that a 34-year-old man with a family closed his hardware store and went to war, when they announced that this man was coming to Harvard, in the flesh, David bought his ticket the first hour they went on sale. He isn't coming to laugh. Here's what almost nobody in that crowd knows about John Wayne. And it matters. It matters for everything that's about to happen. John Wayne never served. The biggest war hero in the history of American movies never wore the uniform. World War II came and Hollywood emptied out. Jimmy Stewart flew bombers over Germany. Henry Fonda joined the Navy. Clark Gable, in his 40s, flew combat missions. And Marion Morrison, John Wayne, stayed home and made pictures. There were reasons: his age, his family, a studio that fought to keep its last leading man and threatened to sue. The deferments were legal, the reasons were real, and none of them ever let him sleep right again. His wife would write about it years later. The guilt sat in him like a stone he couldn't pass. Friends said the flag waving, the war pictures, the politics, the whole roaring super patriot that America watched for 30 years, all of it was a man trying to pay back a debt that had no payment window. He became the war hero on screen because he hadn't been one off-screen. He spent 3 weeks in Vietnam in 1966 visiting troops, walked into forward positions, ate with privates, took fire warnings, and came home quieter than he left. He never explained any of this, not once. Explaining wasn't in him. But hold on to that stone, because in about an hour, in a back corridor of a building in Cambridge, a 22-year-old kid from Dayton, Ohio is going to put his finger right on it. The show itself is a massacre, in both directions. They pack the theater past capacity. The Lampoon boys come dressed in costumes, waving rubber tomahawks. They give Wayne a mock award. They'd announced they were honoring him as the biggest fraud in history. And Wayne walks out on that stage and accepts it like it's the Oscar. Then they open the floor for questions, and the knives come out. A kid stands up, points at Wayne's head. "Is that real hair?" Wayne doesn't blink. "Sure, it's real. It's not mine, but it's real." The room explodes. They came to laugh at him, and he's making them laugh with him. And the difference between those two things is the whole ball game. Another question, dripping with smugness, about his diet, about his horse. Wayne leans into the microphone, times the pause like the 40-year professional he is, fires back something about how the horse is doing better than the food at the Harvard Club. Another explosion. Question after question, they swing at him, and he turns every punch into a dance step. It is, the newspapers will write, one of the great charm offensives in American public life. The room that came to bury John Wayne is on his side within 20 minutes. And then David Reese stands up. He's in the 4th row. He doesn't have a costume. He doesn't have a rubber tomahawk. He has a piece of paper in his hand that he doesn't look at because he's had the question memorized for 3 weeks. "Mr. Wayne." His voice is steady. The room is still chuckling from the last joke, and his voice cuts through it like cold water. "How many men do you figure enlisted because of your war movies?" The laughter dies. "And how many of them came home?" Silence. Total. 500 people, and you can hear the radiator tick. Wayne looks at the kid in the 4th row for a long moment, and the people sitting close to the stage see something move across his face, something that wasn't there during the toupee joke. The grin doesn't vanish, it just sets down its weight. "I don't know the number, son," Wayne says. "Quiet, no microphone tricks. I hope the ones who didn't come home knew why they went. That's the best I can give you from up here." From up here. David sits down, unsatisfied. The Lampoon MC jumps in with a joke, the room recovers, the show rolls on, and 20 minutes later it ends in something nobody in Cambridge would have bet a nickel on that morning. A standing ovation. Harvard students on their feet for John Wayne. But Wayne, walking off stage, says something to his escort. The newspapers never printed it because no reporter heard it. "The kid in the fourth row, find him." The corridor behind the theater is narrow and badly lit. Steam pipes along the ceiling. Posters for old Lampoon issues on the walls. David is standing by the back stairwell when Wayne's people bring him through. They'd told him only that Mr. Wayne wanted a word, and David's heart has been going like a fist on a door ever since. The handlers walk ahead. Wayne stops. He raises one hand and the handlers keep walking. And then it's just the two of them in a corridor that smells like steam and old paper. David gets there first. 9 years of getting there first. "My name is David Reese. My father was Sergeant First Class Thomas Reese. Iadrang Valley, November 1965. I was 9. Wayne says nothing. He's listening. David's voice starts to shake and he hates it and he keeps going anyway. "He saw Sands of Iwo Jima 11 times. He used to say you were what a man was supposed to look like. He enlisted at 34, Mr. Wayne. 34. Nobody was coming for him. He had a wife and a kid and a hardware store, and he went." The paper in David's hand is shaking now too. "And tonight I sat in that room and I laughed at your jokes. I laughed. And I hate myself for it. So I need one answer, and I need you to not be charming when you give it. Did you ever believe a word of it? Or was it always just a costume?" The radiator ticks. Wayne doesn't reach for his hat, doesn't reach for the door. He looks at the kid for a long, long moment, and then he says, "Say his name again." David blinks. "What?" "Your father. His name." "Thomas Reese." "Thomas Reese." Wayne says it slow, once, like he's setting it somewhere. "Hardware store where?" "Dayton, Ohio. Why does that matter?" "Because a man's more than his last day, son. Sit with that one a minute." David opens his mouth. Wayne keeps going, slow, level, no performance in it at all. "You asked if it was a costume. It was. I never wore the real one. Too old when it counted, too married, too comfortable. There were reasons, and they were good ones, and I've never once been able to stand the sound of them." He pauses. "Men like your father went. I stayed home and played them. You want that said plain? There it is. Plain. Then my father died believing in an actor. No. It's the first hard word Wayne has said all night. Not loud. Hard. The kind of word that has a wall behind it. Don't you do that to him. Don't hand him to me." Wayne steps closer. In the narrow corridor he is enormous, and somehow none of it is threat. Your father didn't charge a hill in the Iadrang for a picture show. He went for the man on his left and the man on his right. He went because he was the kind of man who goes. That belongs to him, not to me. Don't you make him smaller to make me bigger." David's jaw is locked. His eyes are full and not spilling, and he is 22 years old and 9 years old at the same time. "He believed in you," David says. And John Wayne, 66 years old, with one lung and 40 years of playing heroes behind him, gives the kid the truest sentence he has. "He believed in something, son. I just had the face for it." Nobody moves. Somewhere above them, the steam pipe knocks. Have you ever watched a man take a punch he could have stepped around? That's what's happening in that corridor. Wayne could have charmed his way out. He charmed 500 people not an hour ago. He's choosing not to. Then Wayne nods at David's hand, at the crumpled event program he's been holding all night. "You got a pen?" David, thrown, fishes a pen from his coat. Wayne takes his own program from his pocket, the one with his own face cartooned on the cover, the one the whole room laughed at, opens it to the inside page, sets it against the wall, and writes. Big, slanted letters. Thomas Reese, Dayton, Ohio, November 1965. He folds it, puts it in the inside pocket of his coat, pats it flat. What is that supposed to mean? David's voice cracks at the end of it. Means he gets remembered by somebody who owed him. Wayne settles his coat. I keep the names, son. He starts down the corridor. His boots are loud on the old floor. At the door, with his hand on the push bar, he stops. Doesn't turn around, because David has one more question, and it comes out before he can stop it. Why did you even come tonight? You knew what this was. You knew we'd laugh at you. Wayne stands there a second, his back to the kid, the noise of the street leaking through the door. Getting laughed at by Harvard is the easiest thing I've done all year. A beat. Your father took fire, son. I can take a joke. And he pushes through the door, and he's gone. 3 weeks later, in Dayton, Ohio, an envelope arrives at the house on Corwin Street. It's addressed to Mrs. Helen Reese, not to David. The handwriting on the front is large and slanted, and the postmark says Los Angeles. And Helen Reese stands in her kitchen and opens it with a butter knife because her hands aren't steady enough for anything sharper, because she has already recognized the name printed on the return corner and cannot make herself believe it. Inside is a single page. Dear Mrs. Reese, in Cambridge I had the honor of meeting your son. He stood up in a room of 500 people and asked the only question worth asking, and he did it with his chin up. That doesn't come from nowhere. Now I know where it comes from. Your husband Thomas was owed more than this country ever got around to paying him. I can't settle that bill. Nobody can. But I want you to know his name rode home with me, and it isn't going anywhere. You raised a man, Mrs. Reese. Anybody can see somebody raised him right. I figure it took 2 of you. John Wayne. Helen Reese reads it 4 times. Then she calls her son at school, and for the first time in 9 years, the 2 of them talk about Thomas Reese for a solid hour. The store, the walk, the 11 viewings of Sands of Iwo Jima. And there is more laughing in it than crying, though there is plenty of both. David never got an answer that fixed anything. There was no answer that could. What he got was a man who refused to dodge, who stood in a dim corridor and said it plain when saying it charming would have been so much easier. Somehow that turned out to be the thing he needed. David Reese graduated that spring. He didn't go into law like he'd planned. He became a history teacher. For 20 years he didn't tell the story to anyone. It felt private, a debt between 2 men, one of them his father, settled in a hallway. But every January, on the day his class reached the Vietnam War, David would close his textbook, sit on the front edge of his desk, and tell his students about a hardware store on Wayne Avenue, and a man who went when nobody was coming for him. And then one year, a student asked him the same question he'd once shouted in a corridor. Wasn't it all just movie stuff? Posters and propaganda and John Wayne? David heard himself answer before he knew he was going to. Don't hand him to me, he said. And don't hand him to John Wayne either. He went for the man on his left and the man on his right. That belongs to him. Then he told them the whole thing. The tank, the snowballs, the toupee joke, the corrido. The program with his father's name folded into a movie star's coat pocket. John Wayne died in June of 1979. He never mentioned that night in Cambridge in any interview. The tank, yes. The standing ovation, sure. His people loved that story. The corridor, never. Whatever became of a folded lampoon program with a soldier's name written inside it, nobody can say. Those who worked close to him over the years have hinted, here and there, that it wasn't the only name the old man carried. That there were others. Folded papers, napkins, hotel stationery. Names of men he'd been told about by widows and sons and fathers in airports and cafes and hospital hallways, written down in that big slanted hand and pocketed like receipts for a bill he never stopped trying to pay. Maybe that's just legend. The man's been gone a long time and legends grow. But David Reese is in his 70s now, and he will tell you to your face, somewhere, in some box nobody's opened, there is a piece of paper with his father's name on it, in John Wayne's handwriting. And that's enough. It was always enough. If this story reached you, do me a favor. Share it with someone who lost somebody and never got the answer they needed. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. There are more Duke stories coming. And unfortunately, they don't make men like John Wayne anymore.